Hello, I'm Danielle Conley, and welcome to Wealth Think Tank Television with your host, Dr. Ralph Steele, providing the best financial literacy, investment, and generational wealth for your children, yourself, your family, and your business.
Welcome to Wealth Think Television. I'm your host, Dr. Ralph Steele, and we're glad to have you on today. We have a great show for you today on KAZQ Television 32. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Ralph Steele, on Wealth Think Tank Television, KAZQ, and our show today is amazing because, listen, we're talking about estate planning for Christmas and New Year's, and we're talking about having what I would call a festive financial plan, folks. So you are festive because you got all that money. Instead of spending it all, you're investing it, what? On yourself. By the way, if you was reading Ecclesiastes 10:19, it does say money answered all things. You probably didn't know that, did you? Well, now you do. But anyway, we're going to talk about estate planning, and in order to get in that, let us just begin the Christmas and the New Year's season with a festive financial plan just for you. And first of all, I want to ask, what is a financial plan? A lot of times people don't even know what it is. So it's like a business plan that structures all of your assets, your money, your real estate, your gold, your wealth, your land, everything you have, intellectual property, books, paintings, anything that has an amazing financial value, that you put it in and you have it in writing. That's basically what a financial plan is. And what it does also is it covers not just 1 year. You want to have a financial plan, folks, that covers 5, 10, 15, and 25 years. And in a minute, I'll tell you why. Because guess what? If you have the right financial plan, you're going to have financial freedom. You're going to have the kind of money that you need. You can go, if you want to go to Hawaii, if you got the right kind of plan, by God, you can do it because you'll have the right plan. Yeah, that's right. You heard it from the doctor, Dr. Ralph Steele, right here live on KAZQ Television 32. So let's talk about a little bit about this estate planning business. Okay, here's what you need to also know, folks. When you talk about having a financial plan and estate planning, so one of the things you also need to know is you want to invest in those kind of assets that appreciates. In other words, I'm going to say it to you in a different way. What you invest in, it makes money for you while you are resting, relaxing, sleep on the beach, taking a time out, enjoying your birthday, celebrating Christmas, celebrating New Year's. If you are just having some fun, how about that? This is what life is about. See, I believe that the good Lord created all of us to live and have a happy life. And to do that, you need certain things to do it. That thing they call green is called money. It's called investment. And so the way I look at it is this way. You pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. Okay, you got it. So now I'm going to get a little bit more into this estate planning. What I want to do, though, I'm going to do it in a different way. So hopefully you'll understand it the way it is. Now, when I talk about estate planning, what I want to do is I want to give you kind of the structure in what I call in a 1, 2, 3 bingo, so you can understand what I mean and you'll be a little bit more clear, and especially those of you who don't understand some of the issues and some of the things and the complexities surrounding money, financial planning, creating generational wealth, having multiple streams of income, and by George, just simply doing the right thing for yourself financially. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out briefly what I call it's something that I created, and it's kind of like part of my intellectual property. Is a sample generational wealth plan. You probably have never seen one. Guess what? I'll have it on this set, on this channel, KAZQ, so you'll be able to look at it and slow down. If you can stop, pause your television, look at it, and just kind of compare it with what you already have, what you might want to change, what you want to improve. For that matter, how and what you might want to make more money for yourself. So here we go, folks. Thank you for watching our show, by the way. Every Sunday, 4 p.m., we're on. Now, that's Central Time. If you're in California, it would be 2 p.m. Central Time. If you're in the mountains, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, that would be 3 o'clock time. Of course, if you're on the eastern seaboard, New York, Virginia, Florida, Georgia, that would be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I'm right here in the Big D, we call it DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, and we're on Central Time. So it'll be 4 p.m. this coming Sunday, and every Sunday. Tune your dial, that's right. And it's not a long show, it's 28, based on the 30 minutes, but it's a good show, good information, positive. You'll find a lot of positive vibes here because we're talking about something that every single human being needs, and that's money. That's financing, becoming financially free. So here we go with the simple generational wealth plan. So number one, you begin as a financial wealth, or I would say generational plan with the individual. Let's say you got an individual. It could be a man, could be a woman, father, mother, or whoever. So you start off, so now you have an individual plan. That plan includes having, if you are financial at that point in life, having a home, all right, 401k, depending on where you work at, and if you own your own business, then you can't have a 401k, but guess what you can have? You can have what we call a SEP, Simple Employment Plan. Same different, you can invest a lot of money in it, and in fact, with the SEP, folks, the good news about the SEP is you can actually take a SEP and then put your money in an annuity, and guess what? If you know anything about annuity, guess what the plus with annuity? No one, IRS, the court system cannot touch it. That's money for life, depending on how much and how you invest it. Good news, right? Yep, you bet it. So you got that. Then you have, it could be real estate. That real estate could be whether you own property that's commercial property that you can lease out office space, what have you, or it could be residential. Residential could be apartment, depending on how wealthy you are, or it could be a duplex, or it could be a home. It could be a one single parent family home, or it could also be a duplex where it's divided between 2 or 3 or 4 families, depending on how big it is. So it could be that. So also, it could be you owning a business, whether it be one business or it could be a franchise business, which means that you own multiple businesses in different. You could have 2 or 3 in the same city, apart from each other, or you could have different business in different states. You know what? Setting up your generational financial plan for you as an individual. Now, we're talking about the individual right now. We hadn't gotten, but we're going to cover, we'll talk a little bit about others as well. The other thing is, you also could have what we call an income for life annuity. So what does that mean? That means you put money in that annuity doubles. You lose none of your money. Hey, folks, guess what? there's the good news to that also. You don't lose any of your principal, nor do you lose any of your interest earned off of the principal. Good news, you don't lose it. And guess what? With this type of annuity, you can get a check the rest of your life. And all you got to do is peep. I always tease people, peep at your direct deposit. Your money will be there. Ha ha. Yeah, you got it, right? You ain't got to work hard because your money is working for you. And that's what a lot of times people have to understand. Learn how to allow your money to work for you. Instead of you working and you're not working hard or smart, you're working too hard when you can be working smarter. Okay, you got it. And then the next thing is when you talk about creating generational wealth and creating generational wealth, but also with the wealth plan is, folks, you probably would need a will. You probably would need a power of attorney, and a lot of times people think, well, I am not old enough to do that, especially for those young people. It is never too early or too late to have a will, power of attorney, so everything is laid out, it's clear. Now, here's the big one. Also, a lot of times people don't realize is they also could use a trust. Well, a trust has a little bit more legal power and force into it. So you can have that also very clear. And then with the trust, it could be irrevocable, but it also could be revocable. I'm not going to go. Now, typically, there's actually two types of trust, which I'll talk about a little bit about them later on as we move along. But nevertheless, there's nothing wrong. It's always good to have a trust, because you have to think about, if you have a trust, in many cases, it potentially, notice what I say, I'm doing a disclaimer right now, but a trust potentially could keep you actually from getting your money or your assets, for that matter, tied up in probate court, because that's the nature of it. Because a lot of times people have wills, nothing wrong with a will, but sometimes people challenge them, and one brother or sister, you want more money than the other one, and you know what happens when someone passes and then they leave something and all they have a will. Or in some cases, a lot of folks don't even have a will or a trust. Some people don't even have a power of attorney. I highly recommend you do that. Highly recommend you do that. Now, I want to take a quick break, and then enter in another little piece of caveat, just for you, especially those great shoppers, mothers and fathers, and the grandparents who want to give something to your children and your grandchildren. And I want to say to you, one of the greatest gifts that you can give your children and your grandchildren, grandparents, is this. You can get them whole life insurance. You can get them an index universal life annuity. Let me tell you a secret. Some of you know, some of you might not know. Imagine if you get your son or daughter, a granddaughter, grandson, and a whole life insurance or an annuity, and let's say 5-10 years from now, your son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter want to say, oh, you know what, I want to take $2,000-$3,000 out of this policy that my parents or grandparents set up for me for Christmas. But now Christmas is past, but listen, 5 years, 10 years, fast forward, move forward, you got all of this money that's growing and accumulating for your son, daughter, or grandson, granddaughter. And say they want $2,000 out of it. Bingo. Take $2,000 out of it. Guess what? Tax free. That's exactly right. That's the truth. I have integrity, whole life insurance, index universal life annuity. As you accumulate money, let's say hypothetically you have $100,000 in it. You want to take $5,000 or $10,000 out of it. Take it out. Tax free. You can't beat that. Or I'm going to give you another trick to it. You can actually borrow against your own money and then actually still draw interest off of your own money. And then when you pay it back, guess who you're paying? Yourself. You guessed it. I give you an A for getting the right answer. You're paying yourself. It's almost like, in real terms, folks, creating your own bank. You got it. That's what you're doing. A lot of times people don't know how you can do it. Tax-free, can't nobody take your money. It's yours. Mean green. That's your money. You got it. So here's the second thing I want to just talk a little bit about. It's part of the overall generational wealth creation. So the second thing is this. You have an individual that's creating generational wealth. So now you move to a higher level and you create that for the family. So what does that look like? That's similar. So the family part of generational wealth will include everything that the individual has. So that way the family is not losing anything. In fact, the individual and the family is actually gaining more. Remember the old saying, two heads are better than one? Or like this here, two pots of money added to one is better than one pot of money? Same difference, same expression. So now when you're looking at a family plan, you're looking also at a home, or guess what, folks? You might be looking at 2 homes, 3 homes, 5 homes. I know I got a friend that has 10 homes. He live in one and he leasing 9 out. Boy, that is some super generational wealth, isn't it, for his family. And now as he got older, I'm gonna tell you what he did. He had 3 children. So he allowed his daughter and 2 sons to actually take these 9 homes, and now they are managing the 9 homes. The daughter has 3, the son has 3, and the other son has 3. And that income is coming to their pockets. All they have to do is keep the home up, you know what I mean, so they won't, you know what I mean, go bad. You know what I mean? They keep all of the upkeep, all of the maintenance and everything. And so guess what? They're making almost $3,000 per home. So you're talking about almost $10,000 a month just off a home between 3 children. You can't beat any better than that. But this is how people use generational wealth. And notice what I just did. I transferred from the father or the mother. Now it's the generational wealth is in the children, but it's including in the family. Husband, wife, as you would see that. Now you on the right track. So what else how does it look? Well, for family, most families going to have at least 1, maybe 2 401ks. They may have whole life insurance. They may have a Roth IRA. By the way, a Roth IRA also, if you put money in and you take money out, it's actually tax-free as well. Good investment. Very good investment. So also, let's say, for instance, one of the family members worked for another company and then one owned their own business. So guess what? And it's a one-person business owner, 100% own that business. Well, guess what? Now you can get what is called a SEP, Simple Employment Plan. Take that money, $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 a month, and invest in that SEP, because the IRS allows you to put up to about $50,000, $60,000 or somewhere around that annually in a SEP. So you do the math. You put $60,000 away 10 years, you got over half a $1,000,000. I didn't even count the interest on it at all yet. And see, the SEP goes into an annuity. So when you put an annuity, you don't lose any money. Guess what? The IRS, the court system cannot touch it. Hands off. It's your money. It's amazing how it works, isn't it? The other thing in looking at is, when you talk about a family, you might also include what we call a mutual fund. Have mutual fund, because mutual funds are more what you would call long-term type investment as well. You don't want a short-term. And then you might also have some shares, some stocks, or what have you, add into this family portfolio. as well. And then for family, husband and wife might need to have a will, trust, power of attorney, all of the above as part of that. So now what I just did, I gave you a sample plan of an individual. It could be a man or a woman, a husband, you know what I mean? But I also now gave you a family plan. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to transition to number 3, and now I'm going to create what we call a really, really quality generational plan. So I'm going to move a little bit farther on, moving fast forward, if you will. And now, first thing I want you to know is, when you create a generational plan, everybody, you have to understand, it must be in writing, signed, sealed, and delivered. If it's not in writing, you go figure. Just send your check to me or somebody else, because it must be in writing. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. It's kind of like a birth certificate. If you don't have a birth certificate while you're born, maybe you were, but you still need, it's in writing, isn't it? It's sealed. It has the hospital seal on it. Guess what? When you do a generational wealth plan, it needs to be in writing, and it needs to be signed, sealed, and delivered. And I can put the seal on it for a easy, low cost. Yeah, you got it right. 'Cause I know what I'm doing, right? Right. Now, let's go into number 3 before our show ends. And I do want to give a holler out and a quick commercial on Mediation Worlds, which is one of our big sponsors here of the show. And we want to just thank you for being a sponsor for our show. Thank you very much. So here's number 3. Number 3 is, as I said, it's called the Actual Generational Wealth Plan in writing. And what I recommend you to do, folks, if you decide to get one, and I highly recommend you do it, is find someone who is a financial advisor, someone who's a broker. I'm a broker and what have you, structured settlement broker, but also a financial, would consider financial service professional, and let that person look it over. And then I recommend the same difference, like when you go to a doctor every year and you get your annual medical physical in order so you know you'll have good health. The same apply. Go and get a financial physical every year. Let someone like myself who understands and knows what happened, so I can look at it, or somebody else, whoever is your financial advisor, look at it, make some recommendation, tweak it a little bit. So, and people say, well, why do I need to do that? I just need to put my money in there and let it grow. No, it's deeper than that, folks. What you want to always do annually is make sure that you are maximizing. Let's say you invest $5,000. Well, you want to know that $5,000, you're getting the maximum amount of interest and make the maximum amount of money on that money, that is the $5,000 that you can do, because you want to make more money, not less, right? That's exactly the point I'm trying to make to you. So now, as a generational wealth plan includes the individual, includes the family, includes the children, but guess what? It also includes the grandchildren as well. No one is left out with a generational wealth plan. That's why it's called generational. And so it includes a minimum 3 generations. So now, what further does it look like? 401ks in that. You got SEP is in that for people who are business owners. You got income for life, annuities in that, because you want to have money that you don't lose, and you want to have money that will last you for just what it said, for a lifetime, and for not just a lifetime, but also at minimum 3 generations. And in many cases, if you have the right generational wealth plan, it could last 100 to 200 or 300 years. You know what I mean? You might be gone, but we have to look at more than just ourselves, and we not just be selfish people, especially those who have children and grandchildren. And even if you don't have children, guess what? You have nieces and nephews. See, a generational wealth plan can include the parents' children, but it also can include nieces and nephews, even cousins. If we get this thing right, everybody will have something because everybody is included. And everybody is cared for. Everybody is loved. Everybody can live a quality of life. So that also includes, as I said, in writing, it includes having a Roth IRA, includes the real estate, the commercial, residential. It includes maybe owning 1 or 3 businesses. Includes being a business owner, because there's nothing like, folks, owning your own, is it? That's right. If you own it, then you got the key to it, you get the check to it, you cash the checks to it, you take it to the bank, and it's yours. And you feel good about yourself, right? Your self-esteem, your self-worth, your dignity is amazing because you own it. All right. What else it includes? It includes, folks, a trust. Now, there are 2 types of trust. There's the simple trust, and then there's the specialized, complex spendthrift trust. The simple trust basically is either irrevocable or revocable. That's the simple trust. And the simple trust, most people can afford a simple trust. Then you have the specialized trust. That trust is the type of trust that reduces, especially people who are business owners, reduces all of your taxes 70 to 90%, and it eliminates your capital gain taxes. Hey, you need it if you're in business. And so that's a great trust. That trust is based on the IRS tax code 643. You know what I mean? Some of you probably never read it because the tax code is, thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages, but that's what it's based on. What else can it be? You can also have gold, silver, any kind of jewelry, precious metals, diamonds involved in it. You can have what we call also intellectual property that are valued. You can have paintings. Some people have paintings are worth hundreds and $200,000. You can have that in it. You can have invention. You can have DVDs, music that you've written, trademark, patent. You can have books that you've written, copyright things in it, valuable, as I said, any kind of assets that you have that's worth something, and have all of these things, and that's what you can have, and that's part of your generational wealth plan. I just gave you the 3 parts to a generational wealth plan in writing. You will see it on the screen, so you'll be able to look at it, do an analysis, look at it, compare it, talk to your husband, your wife, or even if you're single, talk to yourself. Thank you for watching our show. You've been listening to Wealth Think Tank Television with your host, Dr. Ralph Steele, on KAZQ Television 32. Have a great day.